Call this meeting to order at 4:40. We will forego the Pledge of Allegiance to tonight's council meeting. Roll call.
Button is absent. Ambrose?
Here.
Borba?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Subsequent need items.
There are none.
Approval of agenda as posted or as amended.
I'll motion to approve.
Prior to motioning,
I'm sorry.
well, need to amend it by removing items number 1 and number 2, since Councilman Button, or Committee Member Button is not present today. So we'll push those back to our next Audit and Finance meeting.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Moved by Borba, second by Ambrose. Ambrose?
Yes.
Borba?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Line item 3, March 25, 2024, regular meeting minutes. Staff's recommendation is to approve the minutes.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Borba, second by Ambrose. Ambrose?
Yes.
Borba?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Funding and budget matters. Treasurer's report unaudited for the month ending May 31, 2024. Seeing as committee member Button is not here, this will be pushed to the council meeting later tonight. I believe it's in the consent calendar to approve. Next item, reports and presentation from staff. We'll go ahead and have a verbal presentation regarding fourth quarter 2023 reports on sales tax and business activities for the city of Antwater. Finance Director.
Thank you, Committee Chair Ambrose. And if it's okay, 5 and 6 I can do at once since there's not much to report on. You want me to go ahead and
I'm fine with that.
combine them?
Yep.
Okay. And the reason being, this sales tax data that's in your packet has been held over for a few meetings, so it's kind of stale at this point. And so at our next meeting, you'll have more current data. Q1 for 2024 is going to be coming out in the next couple weeks. So unless there's any questions on Q3 or Q4 for 2023, really the highlight of it, we've already gone over in our budget workshop and budget, is that the sales tax numbers were down. And it wasn't the optimal report that we like to get for this quarter, because this quarter includes retail spending for the holiday season, and it was still down. So, and we've pretty much already gone over that in other meetings. So, and then the only other updates I have for that are relevant to the committee right now, some of you might have already heard that on Thursday, the California Supreme Court determined that the Taxpayer Protection Act could not qualify for the November ballot. So that is something that all cities are happy and a little bit relieved for right now. Yeah. And if any of you have any questions, or if you want to follow up at another time, feel free to reach out to me and I can get you some literature that's been circulating as well. The state budget that was passed Senate and Assembly, still some negotiations going on with the governor that are supposed to be complete by July 1. And one of the areas that we're watching closely is, and I know the interim city manager as well, is transportation, and how that affects funding for different things such as the active transportation plan. And everything's still very fluid right now, so it's nothing that we would even plan to adjust our budgets, but again, just all these things that cities are having to keep on the radar right now. And then the final item that I want to go over tonight is our fiscal year 22-23 audit. We're kind of winding down. It is delayed. We do expect that to come forward either at the meeting in July, or because we only have one meeting in July, it might be August. But it's coming to the final phases. But we do expect a finding this fiscal year for 22-23. And most notably, it's because of turnover of key staff, and in addition to staffing limitations that are dedicated to accounting and finance in the finance department. So it's just something that will be on there that I would encourage for future strategic planning and organizational planning sessions with permanent city administration and city council, that we incorporate looking at organizational staffing and those strategic goals going forward, and and how we can mitigate that. So it's just like with any professional service, engineering, planning, accounting, you've got to have enough staff or contract out, which is always an option as well. So I just wanted to put that on the radar since it's Audit and Finance Committee. That's something in the Finance Department we're looking closely at ways we can mitigate future findings with existing resources, but that's something that we'll need to address in the future. And unless there's any questions, that's all my updates for.
Feel free.
Just as a dovetailing in on what Anna had just mentioned about your retail numbers and findings, those are reports that came in from the previous fiscal year and the reports of those activities, and Anna had suggested those included the holiday numbers, which were not as pleasant as we had hoped them to be. I just want to make sure that the committee is aware of influencers. And what I mean by influencers is the dramatic influence that one of the largest retail number banks that we get that rings in for the city every year is the Applegate Ranch Retail Center. And it was dramatically impacted by a Caltrans shop project. The shop project through the corridor of Atwater is now completed. We should not have any more interference from that. We're not expecting any other major infrastructure projects in that area that would influence the numbers that we receive from that. But that's kind of in our rearview mirror. So if we see numbers that are going to be adjusted from this particular fiscal year, it may have, we may ring in better numbers, is what I'm telling you, because of the effects of that shop project being done. But not only do we lessen the impacts of those numbers, but they're also increased because some of those activities are still going on to our neighbors to the south, which we don't wish them any ill will, but we gladly take their business. So I just want to make sure that the committee was cognizant of those things. Thank you.
So just for clarification, we're talking fiscal year 23, so it's not this past holiday season, but the season before, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
But and shop project didn't complete
Yes.
until June to August
So
of this past year.
Yeah, it's definitely a good reminder for us up here as well as those at home or may be watching now. That again, that was fiscal year 23, so holiday season, is that 22?
Yeah,
Okay.
22, 23. But they should be on the rise now that shoppers are conscious of those transportation changes and the availability of the shopping center.
Thank you. Did you have any questions? No. I didn't either, so thank you very much for the update. With that said, we'll move on to the next item, which is comments from the public.
At this time, any person may comment on any item which is not on the agenda. You may state your name and address for the record. However, it is not required. Action will not be taken on an item that is not on the agenda. If it requires action, it will be referred to staff and or placed on a future agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes.
Seeing as there's no one in the audience, we'll go ahead and close public comments, and we will move on to the next item, which is committee members matter. Treasurer Borba?
I have nothing to add.
And I'll just restate the same thing that we say pretty much every meeting. Thank you, staff, for all the information that you guys give us. Keep up the good work, and we will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 4:49.